Good evening, our audience. Toolmark and submitted by Mark Toby M. Sagandoy. Submitted to Dr. Ilinita G. Cuenca and meron tayong lesson objectives dito. Una, let's explain the characteristic of toolmarks and identify the different types of toolmarks. So, content naman natin dito sa slide is sa slide 1, characteristic of toolmarks, and slide 2, types of toolmarks, and slide 3, major categories, and slide 4, collection and examination of toolmark. So, ano nga ba yung mga characteristic ng toolmarks? So, before natin mag-proceed dyan, ano nga ba yung tools? Tools is a device or implement. So, especially, ito is ginagamit para sa commissions of crime, and then nakakatulong din ito para makakatulong ito sa mga criminal para maka-entry sila sa isang bahay, and then makapag-damage sila ng mga properties. So, dito, pag gumamit tayo ng tools, nakapag-iwan siya ng marks through the contact to the surface. So, dito, yung mga law enforcement agency will be submit tools and the items bearing tool marks on the BCA. So, dito, yung mga examiner ng mga firearm and yung mga tool mark sections is nakakatulong ito para solve natin yung crime by a linking or pagkumpara natin ng mga tool mark and then yung mga particular tool. So, tool mark is defined as impressions left by the contact of the tool on the surface. So, dito, ito is yung impressions na naiiwan ng tool by a contact to the surface. So, example, ito makikita nyo po ito. Ayan, mga yan. Yan po yung mga tool marks. So, dito, may example dito, vulgar case or yung pagnanakaw. Pag gumamit ka ng pry bar para makapag-force entry ka sa isang bahay, then yung mark na naiwan na gawa ng isang tool to the door frame is tinatawag itong direct evidence. So, dito yung mga tool mark is mostly encountered nga nila yung pagnanakaw, kaso ng pagnanakaw, and then also natatagpuan din ito through the other types of crime. So, sa pag-documents ng tool in tool mark evidence, the best way dito is yung photography. I-photograph natin yung mga document tools and din yung mga tool mark evidence. So, dito dapat yung photographs is nag-i-include siya ng mga ruler for size reference. Then, whenever possible, submit the whole object containing to tool marks to the laboratory instead na i-remove pa natin sa area yung nagko-contain ng mark. So, pag wala daw tool na naiwan sa crime scene, a cast can be made of a marks left behind from the tool. So, sa class characteristic naman tayo ng tool marks, meron tayong dalawa dito. Una, class characteristic, and yung pangalawa is individual characteristic. So, sa class characteristic, ito is nag-i-include naman siya ng type of impressions and general shape and general dimensions o parehas na or general na sukat. So, sa class characteristic, ina-allow niya yung mga examiner para ma-determine nila yung kung ano bang klaseng tool yung nag-create ng impressions and then kung paano na-create yung isang mark. So, conversely, they do not permit identifications of exact tools that create in the impressions. So, dito, hindi siya nagpe-permit. Wala siyang permit para ma-identify niya yung exact na tool na nag-create ng impressions. So, this means that if only class characteristic is available on the tool mark, it will not possible to distinguish which tool. So, pag class characteristic lang daw ang available sa tool mark, hindi natin madidistinguish kung anong tools ba yung ginamit doon. So, sa pangalawa, individual characteristic. Individual characteristic is also called as accidental characteristics, are the striations and small particularities exhibited by the tool that are individual to the unique tool. They consist of small, commonly microscopic indentation and ridge and irregular present on the tool itself. So dito, for example, yung tip ng screwdriver is neverly perfectly flat. So dito nagsushow siya o nagpapakita siya ng small ridge along the edge. So this is nagcreate naman siya ng history on the tool kung such as its use and misuse, its cleaning and its maintenance. So dito sa class characteristic na to, individual characteristic na to, ito lang yung only one na nag-permit ng formal identifications. Hindi gaya ng class characteristic na wala siyang permit para para makapag identifications ng tool. Exactly tool. So, types of tool marks. So, meron tayong dalawang types of tool marks. Una, impressions. Impressions is a negative reproductions of the tool surface, such as screwdriver and pry bar. Impressions left on the windows or doors that have been forced open or punch impressions safely. So, sa pangalawa naman is an aberrations and friction mark. Dito is nagli-left by a sliding or cutting actions of a tool which is produce striated areas. Striated is yung pagka parang nagasgas, ganun. Areas on the mark surface. So, occasionally, impressions made by the tools which striated surface may be resemble in appearance aberrations or friction marks. So, example natin dito. True aberration mark are most bolt cutter marks on the roads or wire. So, screwdriver, scrape marks, and knife or axe cut marks. By the examinations of such aberrations or cuts, it is usually possible na ma-determine natin yung definitely whether or not suspected tool was used. So, ma-determine natin dito kung possible natin ma-determine dito kung yung bang suspected tool is nagamit ba, and provide no drastic alterations have occurred on the surface of the tool involved the evidence mark since at the time the later was made. So, ayun po yung mga types ng tool mark, impressions, and friction mark. So, dito naman sa major categories, meron tayong tatlo dito. Una, indentation mark. Indentation mark are made by a tool. Gawa ito ng tool when it press against a softer surface. Nagpo-form siya ng negative impressions on the object receiving the force. So, ito yung example niya. Sa pangalawa naman, abrasion mark. Dito is are made when the surface is slide across one another. So, ito is ginagawa pag yung isang surface is na-slide or kinaskas mo. Gaya na po nito. Or pinilit mong binuksan is papakita siya ng abrasion mark. So, sa cutting mark naman, pag yung nag-produce along the edge of a surface is nakat. So, dito, makikita nyo po naman po dito. Pag yung edge daw ng surface is nakat. So, nagko-contain siya ng cutting marks, nagpapakita siya ng cutting marks. So, ayan po yung mga major categories natin. Tatlo, indentation mark, abrasion mark, and cutting marks. Collection and examinations of tool marks. So, sa pag-conduct ng different phases naman, unang gagawin natin is, yung tool is dapat natin ma-observe, measured, and described. So, sa second is yung photograph perpendicular to the tool mark is taken. Dapat yung photograph daw is ma-take natin or ma-taken natin. And this is dito nagpo-provide siya ng permanent record of the class and some individual characteristic of the tool mark. So, then if the support onto which the tool mark is located cannot be collected as evidence, cast of a tool mark is made. This cast is usually made with polymeric dental paste. So, para naman sa examination ng tool marks, ang unang gagawin natin is kailangan nating when the tool mark is discovered, pag yung tool mark is na-discovered natin, and then yung class characteristic is nag-match the ones exhibited by the tool mark, the comparison process is started. So, usually, the tool is observed and photograph natin, and then a comparison mark are made with the tool on the soft material so that extra marks are not created on the tool. So the last comparison microscope. Comparison microscope is used to perform. Ginagamit natin to para ma-perform natin yung comparison process. So the incriminated tool mark is placed on the side of microscopic. So, yung incriminated tool mark daw is ipi-place daw natin sa left side ng microscope, and then yung comparison mark naman is on the right side. So, if yung match is nag-exist between the individual of characteristic, the common origin nito, and then yung the common origin ng dalawang ito is mai-establish natin. So, salamat po sa pakikinig and God bless always, ma'am.